As a physician who has spent more than 2 decades working closely with older adults, I've come to recognize subtle patterns that most people don't notice until it's too late. One of those patterns shows up in the way my patients talk about their mornings. They tell me that getting out of bed has become more difficult. They say that their legs feel heavy when walking, or that they're starting to lose confidence on stairs. They're not sick, not injured, and not sedentary. In fact, many of them are trying to live as healthfully as they can, eating clean, watching their weight, cutting fat, and sticking to foods they believe are good for them. But when I ask what breakfast looks like, that's when the warning bells go off. Most tell me about meals that sound innocent, even virtuous. A glass of orange juice, perhaps with whole wheat toast and a little jam. Or maybe a bowl of raisin bran with skim milk. Others say they skip heavy food and just have fruit with low-fat yogurt. Some say they only drink coffee with a banana because they don't feel very hungry in the morning. Almost always they speak with a sense of pride, as if these choices prove their dedication to wellness. And I understand why. For years, the messaging was loud and clear. Eat low fat, avoid cholesterol, choose whole grains, and start your day with fruit. It was everywhere, in hospitals, magazines, even national nutrition guidelines. But now we know better. Or at least we should. Because what's been missing from that message is context. Specifically, the context of aging. What might be a harmless or even helpful breakfast for a 25-year-old athlete can become a daily setback for a 67-year-old retiree trying to keep their legs strong enough to walk without a cane. The human body changes with age, not dramatically overnight, but gradually and quietly. Our metabolic flexibility declines. We become more resistant to insulin. Our muscles respond more slowly to stimulation. Our ability to retain lean mass, especially in the legs, starts to slip unless we're doing something very specific to protect it. And yet, most of us never change our breakfast habits. We assume what worked at 30 still works at 60. But here's the uncomfortable truth I share with my patients, gently but directly. The very breakfast you've been told is healthy may now be the thing that's silently weakening your legs. Not immediately, not dramatically, but steadily, week after week. You may not feel it in the moment, but the energy dips before noon. The growing reliance on handrails and the struggle to rise from a low chair, they're all whispers from your body, asking for something different, something more suited to its current needs. The loss of muscle in older age isn't just a cosmetic or athletic concern. It's the foundation of your independence. Without leg strength, everything becomes harder. Walking, rising, catching yourself when you slip, and even holding your balance during something as simple as brushing your teeth. If your breakfast routine is sending your body into a blood sugar spike, then a crash, then a state of inflammation and catabolism, you're starting each day on a path that drains strength instead of building it. And the worst part is, you may not even know it's happening, until it already has. Let's pause for a moment and ask the question most seniors never think to ask. What exactly is happening inside your body after that seemingly innocent breakfast? That bowl of cereal with low-fat milk, or the banana and yogurt you had because it felt light and refreshing? What are they doing inside you during those first critical hours of the day? The answer, I'm afraid, is more complex than it appears. When you consume a breakfast high in simple carbohydrates and low in protein, which is often the case with most modern healthy breakfasts, you trigger a very specific hormonal and metabolic cascade. First, your blood sugar rises quickly. For someone young and metabolically flexible, this spike is managed easily by the pancreas, which releases insulin to pull that sugar into the cells for energy. But in seniors, something else happens. As we age, our tissues become more resistant to insulin, meaning it takes more of it and more time to clear that sugar from the bloodstream. The result? Blood sugar stays elevated longer, insulin levels rise higher, and eventually there's a dramatic crash. And it's that crash, not the rise, that does the most damage to how you feel and function throughout the day. But it's not just about energy dips or feeling tired. That roller coaster of blood sugar and insulin contributes directly to chronic low-grade inflammation, a condition that may not hurt in the moment, but acts like a slow-burning fire beneath the surface. This inflammation affects the joints, tightens muscles, and reduces your body's ability to repair damaged tissue. It's part of why many seniors experience morning stiffness, knee pain without injury, or that sensation of weakness in the thighs when standing. But inflammation is only part of the equation. The more critical impact has to do with what you didn't eat. While your breakfast may have flooded the bloodstream with sugar, it likely failed to deliver something far more important: protein, and more specifically, amino acids. These are the raw materials your muscles need to repair, maintain, and grow. Without them, your body can't do the basic maintenance it needs to protect the very muscles that help you walk, balance, and stand. And worse, in the absence of incoming protein, the body may begin to break down muscle tissue to extract amino acids it needs elsewhere. In short, your breakfast didn't just fail to support your muscles. It may have encouraged your body to cannibalize them. Now imagine doing that every morning for years, even decades. The gradual loss of strength, the increasing reliance on armrests or walls, the loss of confidence walking in public. These are not inevitable symptoms of aging. They are the long-term consequences of habits we didn't realize were undermining us. I say this not to frighten, but to offer clarity. Because once you understand the mechanism, you can change the outcome. You can interrupt that pattern. But it begins with a new question. What if your breakfast wasn't giving you energy? It was taking it away. Now that we understand the internal effects of a typical light breakfast, let's take a look at what most older adults are actually eating when they start their day. These aren't hypothetical meals. They're real common examples I hear over and over again in my clinic. Some begin their morning with a piece of toast, sometimes whole wheat, sometimes white, topped with jam or margarine. Others pour themselves a bowl of cereal that promises fiber or heart health on the box, often paired with low-fat or skim milk. There are those who opt for fruit and yogurt, thinking the natural sugars and probiotics will be kind to their digestion. And then there are the ones who say, "I just have coffee and a banana. I'm not really a breakfast person." At first glance, all of these meals seem reasonable. They're not overly processed. They're not greasy. They fit the mold of what many were told in the 80s and 90s was good for cholesterol, weight, and digestion. But what they all share, quietly and dangerously, is an imbalance. They are overwhelmingly tilted toward carbohydrates, especially sugars, while offering little to no protein, fat, or fiber. That toast with jam? That's essentially sugar on starch. The cereal with skim milk? A bowl full of fast-digesting glucose with almost no muscle-building support. The banana with coffee? A sugar spike paired with a diuretic. Even yogurt, unless it's Greek and high protein, is often just a dessert dressed up as health food. But here's where it becomes even more serious. For seniors, the problem isn't just that these meals are lacking. It's that your body is less forgiving of those lacks than it used to be. In your 30s or 40s, you could skip protein in the morning and make up for it later. Your muscles were still responsive. Your metabolism still flexible. But after 60, your muscle protein synthesis, the process by which your body builds or maintains muscle, requires a higher threshold of amino acids to trigger properly. If your first meal of the day doesn't meet that threshold, your muscles may simply not respond. You stay in a catabolic state longer, a state where the body breaks down more than it builds. And the place it most often breaks down from is your legs. That's why I often tell my patients that it's not just what they eat, but when they eat it. Breakfast isn't just the first meal of the day. It's the only meal where your body is coming off a 10 to 12 hour fast. That window when the body is most ready to absorb and utilize nutrients is your best opportunity to tell your muscles, "I still need you." Here's the fuel. Here's the signal to stay strong. When you miss that signal, day after day, year after year, you may not notice the shift all at once. But eventually, it shows up in subtle, sobering ways. Your legs tire sooner. You avoid stairs. You hesitate before standing. You lose confidence in your own balance. Not because of age, but because the one system that carried you for decades, your legs, have been underfed for far too long. So what does a better breakfast actually look like? That's the question I get most often once we uncover the hidden damage of the typical morning routine. And the good news is, the answer isn't complicated. It doesn't require expensive supplements, exotic ingredients, or a complete lifestyle overhaul. What it does require is intention. Because when you're over 60, breakfast isn't just a meal. It's an intervention. It's a daily opportunity to protect your muscle tissue, regulate inflammation, stabilize your blood sugar, and send a message to your entire body. I am still building. I am still strong. The first shift is to prioritize protein. And I mean truly prioritize it, not just a side thought or a sprinkle. Your first meal of the day should include at least 20 to 30 grams of high-quality protein. That could be 2 or 3 eggs, a bowl of Greek yogurt with added protein powder, a cottage cheese parfait with nuts and berries, or even a clean protein shake blended with half a banana and unsweetened almond milk. These aren't bodybuilder meals. They're the fuel your aging muscles need to remain functional. And remember, older muscles are less responsive to small protein doses. That's why it's not enough to have some protein throughout the day. You need enough in one sitting to reach the activation point for muscle maintenance. Breakfast is the perfect time to do that. The second shift is to rethink your carbs. Not eliminate them, but choose them wisely and pair them properly. A slice of toast by itself is a fast sugar hit, but that same toast topped with mashed avocado and a poached egg? Now it's a balanced meal. A banana alone is a quick blood sugar spike. But a banana sliced into full-fat yogurt with chia seeds and cinnamon? That's energy with staying power. It's not about restriction, it's about intention. The third shift is to hydrate. And I know that sounds simple, even trivial. But dehydration is one of the most overlooked causes of morning fatigue, muscle cramps, and even falls in older adults. After 8 or more hours without fluid, your body is thirsty, and so are your joints and muscles. Drinking a full glass of water when you wake up, before you eat or drink coffee, helps rehydrate your tissues and supports digestion. It's a small act with a large impact. And the fourth, often forgotten shift? Move. Even 5 minutes of light activity after breakfast, a slow walk around the house, gentle stretches, standing heel raises at the kitchen counter, can signal to your body that your muscles are in use. This signal works hand in hand with nutrition. Protein tells your body you want to build. Movement tells your body where to build. Without both, the message is incomplete. Every morning, you have the power to tip the scale toward strength or toward decline. And while no single breakfast will change your life, the pattern of what you eat, how you hydrate, and whether you move afterward, that pattern has enormous power. Not just for today, but for how strong you'll feel a year from now. If you've ever looked at your daily routine and thought, I'm doing everything right, so why do I still feel weaker? You're not alone. I've seen dozens of patients over the years who exercise regularly, take their medications, eat clean, and avoid processed food, yet still struggle with declining strength, poor balance, or that uneasy feeling in the legs when walking too long or climbing stairs. And in most of these cases, the answer wasn't hidden in some rare diagnosis or complicated medical condition. It was hidden in plain sight, in their breakfast. What we were told was healthy was often based on outdated science, driven more by trends and fears than by real understanding of the aging body. We were told to fear fat, to choose whole grains above all, to start the day with juice and fruit, and to avoid eggs or full-fat anything. And maybe, at one point in our lives, that approach worked just fine. But the body changes. It becomes more selective in how it uses fuel, more demanding in what it needs to stay functional. And what served us well at 30 may no longer serve us at 70. But here's the empowering truth. That doesn't mean it's too late. In fact, it means the opposite. The aging body still responds to care, and sometimes, even more dramatically than a young one. I've had patients in their 70s who began adding 25 grams of protein to their breakfast, walking for just 10 minutes afterward, and within weeks, they were standing taller, walking longer, and reporting fewer moments of fatigue before lunch. These aren't miracle cures. They're simply better choices, made consistently, based on how the body actually works, not how we wish it did. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for that juice, that toast, that bowl of cereal, pause. Ask yourself, is this feeding my strength or just my habits? Replace the toast with eggs. Add protein to your yogurt. Drink water before your coffee. Stand up and move for 5 minutes. These aren't big changes, they're small pivots. But over time, they build into something real, something powerful, because breakfast is more than food. It's the foundation of your day, the moment where your body either begins building or begins breaking down. And that moment belongs to you, not your doctor, not your past, not the person you were 10 years ago, you today, you, right now. And if you've made it to the end of this video, then maybe some part of you is ready to choose differently, to choose strength, to choose steadiness, to choose the possibility that it's not too late to feel strong again. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing. Here at The Aging Reset, we release new content every day to help you make smarter, simpler decisions for your health, starting with the things that matter most, like keeping your legs strong and your life independent. So here's to a better breakfast, and to the strength that starts before the sun even finishes rising.